Hey guys, I hope all is well. So as you may have heard, we had a SCUM Dev Stream today where they talked a lot about some of the new upcoming content, answered a lot of the community's questions, and just kind of overall just went over a bunch of different information. So in this video, I'm going to try to do a quick summary of a lot of that information that they discussed today. Now it is possible I may have missed some stuff, or I kind of skipped over some stuff that I didn't think was so important. So if you guys would like to go watch the VOD of the SCUM Dev Stream, I will put the link in the description below. But without further ado, guys, let's just get straight into it. So something we need to make note of is they did state that the 1.0 release is still targeted for Q2 of 2025. So nothing's changed there. We still have a while to go till that, but it'll be here sooner than we know it. All right, so we're going to get straight into some of the PvP focused content. So one of the big things that I know we're all very frustrated with in the PvP community is the weapon sight rendering issue. The devs did state that they are working on this and they are continuing progress to try to fix this, but they are not ready to release a fix for this yet. But they are working on it, guys. So just hang in there. I know it's probably one of the most annoying bugs we're dealing with right now in the game, and so I am very much looking forward to this being fixed, because I can't even count how many times this has got me killed. But yeah, this is going to be fixed, guys. If you're not aware of what this is, I'll show some footage on the screen now. And yeah, it's very annoying, especially when you're in a PvP situation. So it is getting fixed. Moving on, we're going to talk about the SCAR L. So they did show some additional information about the SCAR L. They did do a quick showcase, so I'm going to show some video footage here on screen now.
Theme and everything like that. We do have a new weapon coming soon. Yep. It's another Belgian variation, of the Belgian rifle SCAR, and instead of the DMR, this is the SCAR L version, chambered in 5.56, and I spawned the magazine without any ammo. And it is shorter, it is a little bit lighter, but it's still a SCAR, so it looks like a SCAR. It's going to be a little bit more accurate, a little bit slower fire rate, but it's still a beautiful weapon that, I mean, who doesn't like guns in this game? But as you can see, it is 5.56. The animations for it are pretty good, even though, like we said, it's still work in progress. So the magazines right now need to be worked on, and another thing that will be arriving pretty soon and still needs to be worked on the SCAR are malfunctions. But as soon as those are done, it's in the game. And I guess y'all want to see me fire it, right? There you go. We got some full automatic action.
Poor trees in the background.
And a little bit of pictures. They just grow.
Yeah. They just respawn. It's okay.
Well. So everybody, that's the SCAR.
So as you can see, the SCAR L is very close to implementation. It sounds amazing. I'm so looking forward to this being in the game. But yeah, that's coming, guys. I would imagine it's coming in the next update. Something else they also talked about weapon-wise was the SKS. They said this is still a work in progress, and they are not sure as to when this will be in the game. I know they've been working on it for a while. I'm definitely looking forward to this gun. But yeah, this is still a work in progress, guys. And then they went on to talk about dual wielding weapons such as pistols most likely will not be implemented into the game. There will be a melee combat rework in the future. Movement rework is coming. They stated that gear weight will have more of an impact on your character's speed and ability to jump, but there's a lot of balancing stuff they have to go into with this. So this is taking a lot of work. So I would imagine it's going to take a little bit more time till we see that. And then they talked about the recommendation of from the community is allowing for one main character to be used across all servers, but they said that with all the balancing issues that this brings into play, that this is not something they're going to likely be doing. So and if you don't understand what that means, essentially like having one character based, essentially your account based character, to where that as you're playing across different servers and so forth, you can use the same character, and you don't have to level up multiple different characters and play with multiple different characters. But they said just due to the amount of just issues this would bring up bouncing wise, this is not something they're planning on doing. They are looking into possibly bringing back the camo skill, but if they're not able to improve and balance it correctly, then that will be scrapped, and to be able to prevent that mechanic from being abused. So it used to be in the game, they took it out, and it was because it could be abused and so forth, and there was a lot of issues with it. But they said that this is something that they're working on, but they're not sure if it's going to come back or not. They discussed being able to use both hands in regards to holding like a shield and a weapon. They said this is an extremely complicated thing to implement. It's possible, but it's not something they are currently looking into. They went on to talk about some of the armband stuff, and this will be coming with the squad logo. So you'll have the ability to add your squad logo, as you can see in the image, and like we talked about in the last video. You'll also have the ability to take other squads' armbands off their body and wear it with that squad's emblem. So it won't change as soon as you put it on to your squad's emblem. It'll stay as the other squad's emblem. So that can be really interesting. Especially if you're playing on more of like a hardcore server that doesn't have the names above the head. I can see that being really interesting in regards to PvP situations. You can essentially play as an imposter for another squad and so forth. So a lot of interesting interactions that are going to come from that. They also talked about additional medical issues such as broken bones coming in the future. This will actually, I think this will drastically impact PvP, especially big PvP fights that are happening between a bunch of people. Essentially, if you get shot, it could have the possibility of like breaking your leg, and then essentially you're crippled and you won't be able to kind of walk around or so forth. So you're kind of stuck unless you're able to patch it and heal up and so forth. So this is going to change PvP quite a bit, I see. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be probably frustrating in the beginning, especially for a lot of us veteran players. PvE focused stuff. So they did go to talk about a lot in regards to the quest. So they did showcase the early implementation of usable smartphones, as you can see in the screenshot, and I'll blow it up here on screen so you can see it better. But essentially the smartphone, same smartphone that we already have in the game. Essentially now though, it's no longer broken, and they were talking about the ability to essentially put the smartphone battery in the smartphone to power it up, and then that'll give you the ability to kind of access quests and so forth from there. They also showcased the early implementation of the quest user interface that'll be found in the journal tab. So we already have the journal tab as part of our like character's UI. When you hit the tab key, it'll open up all your different tabs and so forth. And so essentially it sounds like the quest like log is going to kind of be buried inside of that, as you can kind of see in the screenshot here. And so definitely some interesting stuff there if you're really excited for the quest. They said that the quest will receive a soft launch just like the drop ships did, and we will be seeing the quest, at least the soft launch of the quest, in 2024. So this is going to be coming very soon, guys. I would imagine within either the next few weeks or right before Christmas. So definitely some exciting stuff there, guys, if you're really excited for the quest. With the soft launch, they said the quest will be available at 4 different traders. With the soft launch, there will not be any story related quest, but they will have a variety of different tasks in regards to the quest that you can complete. So no story-based stuff yet. They said that the story-based stuff will come in later updates, but as of right now, for the early soft launch of Quest, that they're going to kind of focus on trying to make the system optimized, improve it based off our feedback that we give them. And then the quest will be progressive with the soft launch. And then there's still 3 different ways to get quest, essentially the traders. The quest, depending on what trader you get the quest from, it could vary, like the locations you have to go to. So it could be a similar style of quest, but the locations will be different. And based on my understanding of what they were talking about, essentially the quest will be kind of centralized with that trader. So say if you go to the A0 trader and get a quest, maybe your quest will be at the brickyard. So it'll kind of be localized to that area, if that makes sense. And then they said quest boards will be in the larger towns. So you can see here in this image that this is actually a quest board at the C3 church, at the C3 town. And so they said they will be in the larger town. So I imagine like C3, C1, probably the big city, Saint Mabor City, few other places throughout the map down in the Z sectors. So, but they said that the quest boards will be in the larger towns. And then something else they mentioned with the quest boards is essentially they will physically show full or empty. So as you can see, this quest board's full here. If there's essentially no quest on the quest board, that means there's been a player there doing all the quests or multiple players. So that can kind of be assigned for if you're out hunting for players, or if you're in an area and you see the quest board's empty, then that means there's players around, or players been there recently. They said that these will refresh over time, kind of how loot does. And so you don't have to worry about them like running out of quests to do. Like, it will refresh with time. They said then quest, you will have the ability to accept quests from the mobile phone. And they said some quests will have an autocomplete with the mobile phone, just depending on the quest type and whatever the task is and so forth. They said quests will receive custom voice lines that are unique to each quest, and then players and admins will have the ability to create custom quests. For the admins, it'll be like a server setting or like a server command, and then for the players, I'm not sure how it'll work, but I'm sure it'll like utilize your UI or the smartphone, or you'll go to the traders and like maybe set a bounty on somebody or so forth. They didn't say anything specifically about bounties, but I would imagine that seems like a very likely thing that'll happen, but who knows. But yeah, just that's another screenshot of the kind of the quest board up close. Yeah, and some of the other PvP or PvE focused stuff that they talked about, survival features such as more injuries, boiling water, and etc. are coming, but are not the current priority. New skills that will be tied to new features will be coming in the future. They are discussing / reviewing what they're calling animal handling. Which could give the players the ability to possibly tame / raise animals in the game, but they said this is way far in the future. They also went on to talk about some of the roleplay additions, but they are looking for feedback from the roleplay community in the SCUM official Discord. So I'll put the link to the Discord in the description below if you guys aren't already a part of it. But Beta said that he recommended that you reach out to him directly in the SCUM Discord with your roleplay kind of feedback and recommendations for some features they might be able to add to the game moving forward in the future. And then they are talking about a fishing rework coming in the future, adding some more farming options and crop types in the future, adding additional craftable oven in the future, discussing and reviewing the ability to add gear display racks similar to the weapon display racks. Essentially, you can put your armor and stuff on to display it, or your gear set or so forth. Then they also talked about the dropships rework in regards to base encounters. They said the other encounters on the island they're pretty pleased with. They're still tweaking and so forth, but they said the one that they're putting a lot of work into is in regards to the base encounters, essentially where the dropships attack player built bases. So they said they're putting a lot of work in that and rebalancing that and so forth. So some of the other big things that they discussed throughout the stream as well is some additional admin tools being added to support new features, new skills being added to the game such as hacking and programming. I would imagine the hacking's probably to deal with like the abandoned bunkers with the when you have to hack a door, one of the big doors. So that currently right now is not tied to the hacking skill, but they've talked about it in the past. So in the future, it will be tied to the hacking skill. I believe right now it's tied to the thievery skill. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the thievery skill it's tied to right now. Yeah, and they said they're also still working on tattoos. They said this is taking a lot of time though due to character model complexity, specifically in the regard to character models being able to change over time. So as your character gets stronger, he builds muscle, his kind of body shape changes, or if your character starts to put on additional fat and gets heavier, their body shape changes, so it can change the way the tattoos kind of stretch and the textures look and so forth. So they said that's what's really taking a lot of time, and that's why it's been so long since they added any additional tattoos to the game. But this is not currently a priority. As you'll see that throughout this whole video is a lot of stuff they're not really prioritizing right now because they're trying to get the main base features of the game implemented and essentially set up in the way they're supposed to be before they start adding all these additional things on top of the other new things they're already adding. So just hang in there, guys. A lot of this stuff's going to be coming. It's just going to take them time, and they only have so much time, and they only have so many resources that they can dedicate to each individual thing. So just hang in there, guys. Something else they also talked about bringing back was the seaplane. They said it is coming back for sure. the big thing they're doing right now is reviewing a couple of options of how they're going to re-implement this. So essentially, it said they could either re-implement it as part of the modular system for the current plane, where you can modify the current plane to make it a C plane, or they can add in a standalone plane that is just the C plane. They're kind of bouncing back and forth between the two. It sounds like, I would imagine it's probably going to be more along the lines of the modular system, but who knows? I'm by no means a game developer. So moving on, they talk about snow textures and the ability to have detailed footprints. But they said due to resource limitations with the game engine, they don't believe this will be something they'll have. So we will get new snow textures, but essentially having footprints in them. The game that comes to mind that I think of is like Red Dead Redemption 2, where you can like see your footprints in the snow. That most likely won't happen with SCUM just due to the game engine limitations. They also went on to talk about character animation updates across the board. UI rework in progress. They're reviewing an interactive map concepts to improve the in-game map, giving us possible features such as the ability to zoom in on the map. So I know a lot of us are pretty familiar with the scummap.com, where you can kind of have that interactable map and build custom maps and so forth, put waypoints. But essentially, from the sounds of this, it sounds like we might get something similar in the actual game itself. They said they're still messing around with it, reviewing it. They're not sure resource-wise, possibilities, and so forth, but it is something they are reviewing. They move on to talk about abandoned bunker turrets may become active in the future. Now, they didn't say for sure. They said this is a surprise for the future, but it basically, to me, sounds like when you power up a bunker, or maybe if you fail a door or so forth and set the alarm off, it'll activate these turrets, and that's another thing you have to worry about inside the bunker. So that's going to be a pretty big change that's going to come to the abandoned bunkers. So I'm not sure how that's going to change and affect the dynamic of the bunkers. These are on like rail systems, so they can probably maybe move down the hallways and kind of track you a little bit. Who knows? But it sounds like something that we're going to have to deal with in the future. So mentally prepare yourself for that one if you already dread going into the abandoned bunkers. That's one more thing you're going to have to worry about. But I'm looking forward to it because it just adds that little bit more challenge. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I mean, the abandoned bunkers aren't super easy, but yeah, it's just going to add that little bit more challenge and immersion to the game. But yeah, moving on. They will review adding modding support after the 1.0 update. Still no confirmation if we are going to get it, if we're not going to get it. But they said they're not going to even really think about it until after the 1.0 update. So they're essentially trying to get the base game out, and then they're going to talk about maybe adding mod support, which I really hope they do, because that's going to really extend the life of the game. They go on to talk about the possibility of adding gym equipment for character leveling and skilling. This is something that they kind of quickly discussed. Not a lot of detail, but essentially it sounds like this might be something they're reviewing. I know it's something they've talked about in the past. They're reviewing adding shutters to base building windows, but there are many balancing issues that they're working through in regards to this, and specifically to raiding. They're worried about raiders being able to abuse these, essentially jump on them, and all different kinds of ways you can probably abuse these. So they're trying to kind of figure out balancing and so forth for them. So it is something they are looking at, but as of right now, it doesn't sound like it's going to be anytime soon. They discussed helicopters, but they said the issues with helicopters are balancing in regards to base defense and game performance. Base defense wise, as we get the base turrets, this might change, but right now their biggest thing they said with these is essentially helicopters would give raiders the ability to really easily get into bases. I mean, the planes already give you the ability to kind of parachute and drop into bases and so forth, but the helicopters essentially will give you the ability to land inside the bases depending on how big they are and so forth. But yeah, so they said that's a big balancing issue they have to figure out if they even consider adding helicopters. And then they said the next big thing is game performance. They said they had to limit planes due to game performance, so the likelihood of them putting helicopters in might be pretty low, but we'll have to wait and see. Then they go on to talk about they're not currently focused on adding any new DLC content until they get the base game features complete. They talk about the inventory rework is coming in the future with the possibility of possible ability to auto sort but they are still exploring different options for the inventory rework. I know we talked about it in the last video, but this is something they are working on, guys, and exploring a lot of different options based off our feedback that we've given them. And then the server queues are something that are planned. Now, this is huge. I know we all are frustrated by having to constantly try to spam the join button to try to get into a server. So they are going to add server queues, but they said they are not sure currently when it's going to be implemented. They said there's a lot of behind the scenes work in regards to communication between the servers and clients and so forth that they're working on, but there's a lot of stuff going on to try to make this possible as soon as possible. So this is coming though, guys, so just hang in there. I know it's a frustration. It's something that we've kind of recommended to them as the community for a long time, for years and years, but this is coming finally. So I know I'm excited for it, and this is kind of a big quality of life thing that we need in the game. But yeah, that was kind of it, guys. Like I said, there was a lot of information, and I know I went through this pretty quick. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below, or if you just have any discussions, leave them in the comments below. Just make sure you stay respectful, guys. But yeah, a lot of great content, guys. If you want to go watch the whole hour-long stream, it's like an hour and 15 minutes, I think, long stream. Go check the link in the description below. But other than that, guys, just let me know what your thoughts are. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future SCUM content. And if you did like this video or found it informative, make sure you hit that like button so YouTube knows to recommend this kind of content to you in the future. But other than that, guys, like always, do good, do have fun, and do be kind. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.